6 strange phenomena occurred during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Images of 64 foot from the Asian Games were promptly removed after becoming widely known through official media. Patriotism is also fake. The CCP invests heavily on recruiting internet commenters. Guangdong Rural Commercial Bank deceived the villagers by converting their debt into shares. It's all covered in today's China Truths. 6 strange phenomena occurred during the Mid-Autumn Festival. The Mid-Autumn Festival, one of China's most cherished traditional celebrations, comes second in importance only to the Chinese Lunar New Year. This festival traditionally involves the consumption of mooncakes and the contemplation of the moon, symbolizing the unity of families. However, in the wake of the full emergence of the COVID epidemic this year, China has experienced a series of unusual phenomena, including a significant decline in the sale of mooncakes, both online and offline, despite promotional efforts and discounts. Furthermore, other perplexing phenomena have emerged on social media platforms: a notable decline in tourism to Xinjiang, Inner Mongolia, Sichuan, Gansu, and other regions, a noticeable reduction in gift-giving, decreased restaurant patronage during the Mid-Autumn Festival, a lackluster hairy crab market, and declining prices with a concurrent drop in buyers. In the past, people could be seen everywhere carrying bags of various sizes to exchange gifts, but this year, there has been a notable reduction in the number of people engaged in this gift-giving tradition, sparking widespread societal concern and discussion. During the middle to early days of August, China witnessed a substantial drop in mooncake sales, with approximately 91,000 boxes sold, marking a 43% decrease compared to the same period the previous year. This decline in sales amounted to approximately 5.5 million yuan, about $763.518, indicating a significant 55% reduction in revenue. Physical sales of mooncakes have also experienced a decline. A representative of a mooncake brand in Suzhou disclosed that, despite their involvement in producing customized mooncakes for certain companies, orders have plummeted by 30% to 40% this year. Furthermore, customers who continue to place orders are opting for simpler packaging and more budget-friendly options to cut costs. These developments have triggered widespread discussions and trended as hot topics on Weibo. Guo Xiaojun, a consulting researcher at Shenzhen Zhongweijian, has highlighted the stark contrast in this year's mooncake market sales compared to previous years. There are 2 main contributing factors at play: first, health concerns that have led to a more cautious approach to consumption, and second, a growing conservatism among consumers, impacting their willingness to spend on gifts. One netizen provided a thought-provoking perspective, stating, "We can glean some insights from these unusual occurrences." Prominent experts suggest that when we remove the restraints caused by the pandemic, there will likely be a surge in retaliatory consumption. Similarly, if we relax birth restrictions, the population could see a retaliatory increase. Likewise, lifting purchase constraints might result in a formidable surge in housing purchases. However, it seems that many of us are opting for a non-retaliatory approach and choosing to be more frugal. The post garnered various responses, with some users expressing economic hardships with comments like, "China's economy appears to be in a state of collapse." Some remarked, "Lying flat is the way forward," while others took a more critical stance, suggesting, "Let's collectively lie flat and await the downfall of the Communist Party." Images of 64 foot from the Asian Games were promptly removed after becoming widely known through official media. On the occasion of the 74th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party's rise to power on October 1, a curious incident unfolded at the Hangzhou Asian Games. On October 2, an official post from CCTV News on Weibo celebrated Lin Yui's victory in the women's 100-meter event at the Asian Games, featuring a picture of Lin and Wu in their embrace. This photo caught attention due to the alignment of their waist card numbers, 6 and 4, which bears significance tied to historical events. Subsequently, this image was promptly removed, along with similar photos shared by netizens. Nevertheless, mainland Chinese netizens continued to share the photo on social media platforms, only to witness it being systematically removed by the CCP. Some users commented on the image, with remarks such as old photos from 1989, unbearable, historical snapshots, powerful imagery, and others. This prompted discussions about the CCP's strict control over historical narratives and information. 64 holds a sensitive connotation for the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, as it relates to the tragic events of the 1989 Tiananmen incident, commonly known as June 4th. This event originated when Chinese students and citizens gathered in Tiananmen Square on April 15, 1989, to mourn the passing of former CCP General Secretary Hu Yaobang. This memorial gathering escalated into a 2-month-long protest, with college students demanding political reforms. The CCP's response culminated in a violent crackdown during the night of June 3 to the early hours of June 4, 1989, when the CCP's armed forces and police used force to disperse and suppress the demonstrators, resulting in the infamous June 4 massacre. In a related incident, mainland internet celebrity Li Jieqi faced repercussions during a sales livestream on the evening of June 3 the previous year. Li Jieqi presented a Wall's Viennetta ice cream cake, which happened to be shaped like a tank. This act led to accusations of alluding to the CCP's use of tanks to suppress the Tiananmen Square protests on June 4. Subsequently, Li Jieqi was banned by the CCP due to this perceived reference, highlighting the party's intolerance of sensitive historical references and symbols. Patriotism is also fake. The CCP invests heavily on recruiting internet commenters. The international community's growing frustration with the Chinese Communist Party's actions and oppressive tactics has become increasingly evident. To shield itself from international isolation and embarrassment, Beijing authorities have resorted to manipulating public opinion and disseminating fabricated news. On October 1, during Station B's National Day flag-raising ceremony, several fake Taiwanese accounts mysteriously appeared in the comment section. These accounts utilized traditional Chinese and displayed IP addresses from Taiwan. However, within a few hours, upon closer inspection, these accounts reverted to mainland Chinese IP addresses. Evidence shared by vigilant netizens demonstrated the shifting IP address of an account named Nanxi Cloud, initially appearing as Taiwan and later changing to Henan. Similarly, another account, Izumi Coriander, expressed birthday wishes to the motherland before its IP address transitioned from Taiwan to Jiangsu, with associated information suggesting an affiliation with the Beijing University of Posts and Telecommunications. Notably, the user Nanxi Cloud had entirely erased all personal content from their account. Ultimately, the incident raised concerns and drew both pity and disdain from the online community. According to a report from the China Digital Times, there has been widespread attention to a situation involving fake comments. In response, some netizens have noticed that Station B, a Chinese video sharing platform, seems to have temporarily disabled the display account IP location feature on its PC webpage, making it visible only on mobile devices. This development comes after the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, mandated, starting in July 2022, that major social platforms must display the IP territory on user profiles and comments. While it is unclear whether this official action is related to concealing the activities of additional actors and groups, it has raised questions. Previously, the Epoch Times reported on the CCP's use of various cyber armies to promote its authoritarian and totalitarian rule, even resorting to using prisoners as part of their efforts. On February 17, 2021, mainland China's NetEase News published a report titled "Every Prisoner Strives to Earn Points." In this system, inmates with high assessment points can have their sentences reduced or be considered for parole. Knowledgeable netizens commented on the article, revealing that prisoners in some Chinese correctional facilities receive reward points for engaging in online trolling activities. These rewards include 3 points for posting, 1 point for following, and a potential reduction of up to 6 months from their sentences for accumulating 100,000 points. To manipulate public opinion and propagate false narratives, the CCP invests heavily in recruiting individuals to act as internet commentators, commonly known as internet trolls. These individuals come from various backgrounds, including naval personnel, working league cadres, internet celebrities, college students, employees of internet companies, prison inmates, and unemployed individuals. Within mainland China, these cyber trolls operate under CCP guidance to suppress genuine criticism from internet users, create false public sentiment, conceal CCP-related criminal activities, distort true public opinion, disrupt social order, flatter the party's leadership, and create a facade of national prosperity. They also engage in activities such as inciting ethnic hatred, spreading malicious rumors about other countries, vilifying CCP dissidents, distorting historical facts, and disseminating deceptive information to manipulate the public. Guangdong Rural Commercial Bank deceived the villagers by converting their debt into shares. Residents of Haishan Town in Raoping County, part of Chaoshan City in China's Guangdong Province, find themselves grappling with a predicament at their local rural commercial bank. Allegations have emerged that the bank employed a dubious tactic of converting debt into shares. Residents of Haishan Town were encouraged to invest in shares, albeit without formal contracts. At the time, this investment was presented as an internal task assigned to bank employees. Villagers were enticed with promises of dividends and the ability to withdraw their investments after a mere 20 days. Consequently, the residents entrusted their hard-earned savings to the bank, only to discover that, for the past 8 years, their funds have been inaccessible. Mr. Lee, a villager, recounted in an interview with an Epoch Times reporter on September 29 that he and fellow villagers had placed their savings in the bank approximately 4 to 5 years ago. He disclosed that since September 18, villagers have been flocking to the bank daily, desperately seeking to make withdrawals. At present, the bank is demanding that villagers independently seek buyers for their shares. Consequently, the bank has assumed the role of gatekeeper, effectively preventing villagers from withdrawing their own money at times of dire need. Mr. Lee further disclosed that the Rural Commercial Bank employed the pretext of exchanging stock certificates to transform the original value of 2 yuan, approximately 27 cents, per share into 3 yuan, approximately 41 cents, per share. This maneuver not only obstructed access to villagers' deposited funds but also exposed them to devaluation. The financial magnitude of this incident is staggering, with an estimated 400 to 500 million yuan, approximately $55 to 69 million US dollars, at stake. It is important to note that the shares purchased by villagers were internal shares of the bank and, as such, cannot be traded on the open market. Li Henqing, a US-based economist, conveyed to an Epoch Times reporter on September 29 that the villagers face a formidable challenge in recovering their invested shares or funds unless they can present compelling evidence. Li Henqing drew a parallel with a situation at Zhengzhou Rural Commercial Bank 2 years prior, involving online deposit collection. He remarked, it was marketed as an online deposit collection, with the promise that you could open an online account and independently manage your savings. Eventually, the bank asserted that this was not a deposit but rather a financial product purchase. As things stand, prospects appear dim unless they can furnish proof of deception. However, I suspect these individuals lack the necessary financial knowledge, making the situation exceptionally challenging. Li Henqing also highlighted the extensive presence of over 4,700 large and small banks in China, with 89% of them closely intertwined with the real estate sector. He noted, over the past 3 decades, the real estate industry has transformed into China's emblematic source of wealth creation. A pervasive belief has taken hold that real estate constitutes an indispensable and infallible resource, bound to yield profits. As a result, many aspire to participate in this sector, including banks. Banks have extended a substantial number of mortgage loans on the premise that, with collateral, particularly in the form of real estate, future profitability is virtually assured. Even if borrowers default on their loans, banks can reclaim the property and remortgage it to generate income. This dynamic has engendered a colossal bubble. With successive blows to China's real estate companies, a financial crisis stemming from bank bad debts has unmistakably commenced. The recent arrest of Su Jiayin, chairman of Evergrande Group, a prominent Chinese real estate corporation, has captured widespread attention. China Evergrande officially announced on September 28, via the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, that Su Jiayin had been subjected to compulsory legal measures, marking a significant turning point. In another development, Sunac China Holdings recently gained approval from 98.3% of its overseas bondholders for an overseas debt restructuring plan. Simultaneously, the company filed for bankruptcy protection in the United States. Moreover, on August 10, Country Garden, one of China's largest real estate enterprises, unexpectedly faced a liquidity crisis and issued a profit warning, projecting a net loss ranging from 45 billion to 55 billion yuan, $6.251 billion to $7.64 billion, for the first half of 2023. Mo Bin, president of Country Garden, emphasized in the announcement that the company currently confronts its most formidable challenge since its inception. The primary focus is on securing the company's cash flow with maximum efficiency by expediting sales collections. Country Garden aims to minimize costs and maximize value, including the collection of debts, the active expansion of financing options, and efforts to rejuvenate substantial and hard-to-sell commercial assets. Negotiations with creditors to explore debt restructuring options are also on the agenda. The real estate sector has witnessed a series of setbacks, particularly concerning its staggering debt levels. Following is a compilation of notable real estate debt issues in China. According to information from the Chinese portal website NetEase, there are 4 major real estate companies in China burdened with debts exceeding 1 trillion yuan, about $137 billion each. These firms include Evergrande with 2.5 trillion yuan, about $342.7 billion in debt, Country Garden with 1.5 trillion yuan, about $205.6 billion, Bank with 1.35 trillion yuan, about $185.1 billion, and Greenland Holdings with 1.24 trillion yuan, about $167 billion. Additionally, 6 other companies carry debts exceeding 400 billion yuan, about $54.8 billion each. These companies are Poly Development with 984.7 billion yuan in debt, Sunac China with 930.5 billion yuan, China Resources Land with 612.7 billion yuan, Longfor Group with 572.4 billion yuan, China Shipping Real Estate with 495.3 billion yuan, and China Merchants Shekou with 433.8 billion yuan. Liangqing contends that the successive crises in China's real estate sector have set off a systemic financial crisis within the financial industry. He asserts, "We are currently witnessing the unfolding of a systemic financial crisis. The dominoes have started falling, and they are still in the process of toppling. Ever since the eruption of the Evergrande crisis 2 years ago, when its 1.9 trillion yuan debt became overdue and unpayable, the collapse has essentially begun. However, the central government has been attempting to mask the situation, but it's increasingly challenging to do so." Liangqing goes on to underscore that China's real estate represents an immense reservoir of capital. Banks have predominantly invested their resources in real estate, confident in the prospect of guaranteed returns. Now, all these funds have been absorbed and converted into fixed assets, which cannot be depreciated and remain illiquid. Currently, a critical issue is the immobilization of bank funds, and there seems to be no easy remedy in sight. A substantial portion of bank loans has transformed into non-performing debts, and the entire banking system is perched on the precipice, yet the government is employing all available means to mask this situation, warned Liangqing. In reality, the government relies on a facade of reassurance, perpetuating narratives of China's remarkable economic resilience and the enduring strength of its economy. These affirmations are omnipresent in China's media landscape, echoed consistently through television, radio, and newspapers. This concerted effort is what they term stabilizing expectations. The underlying principle is that without these expectations, economic insolvency looms. However, in practice, the prevailing sentiment among the public appears to be markedly pessimistic. Liangqing surmises that this pessimism will endure for an extended period. Consequently, he asserts that the financial system is presently grappling with a full-blown crisis. The government's reliance on coercive measures to maintain what they term stabilized expectations is, in essence, a form of turning a blind eye to the problem and muffling dissenting voices. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.